Now, talking about Ukraine, Putin thought that he would divide us. Now we're stronger than ever. We know we have to continue to be united supporting Ukraine. Canada has been supportive of Ukraine since day one. We know also we have to continue to invest in supporting militarily and at all levels Ukraine. That is why we signed recently a long-term security agreement with Ukraine. Tomorrow we'll be also talking about the Indo-Pacific. Lots of our Indo-Pacific friends and partners will be here. Canada, as a Pacific nation, will continue to commit a lot of our resources to the Indo-Pacific. Right now, after the US, we are the NATO partners that have the most frigates in the region. We need to invest in the Indo-Pacific to make sure that we keep things steady in the region. Donc, ça me fait plaisir de répondre à vos questions. Essentiellement, lorsque vient la question de l'Ukraine, le Canada, on a été là dès le début.
Minister, how concerned are you that a possible new U.S. administration might undermine efforts of the NATO allies to put in place new efforts to support Ukraine?
So first and foremost, Canada knows well the U.S. They're our neighbors, best friends. And when it comes to Ukraine, I'm convinced that the U.S. will find a way to continue to support Ukraine. It is important to remember that Russia is supported by China when it comes to Ukraine, and that is why we need to address these threats together.
Would you support a new
it's
fund?
realistic? Do you think it's realistic that NATO agrees on a $100 billion fund for the next 5 years for Ukraine as proposed by the Secretary General of NATO?
Well, of course, we're always there to support the different ideas that are presented by the Secretary General. We've already also committed a long-term security arrangement to Ukraine. Prime Minister Trudeau was there recently, a month ago, and it was one of the ideas that Canada put to the table at the G7 to make sure that Ukraine would be in a strong negotiating position one day when the war is over and Russia will still be a very dangerous neighbor. So we wanted to make sure that Ukraine could have access to these security assurances, these guarantees, until becoming a member of NATO. And that's why we continue to welcome any form of support that Ukraine can have, because we need to send a message to Ukrainians themselves, but we also need to send a message to Russia.
On Middle East, a couple of weeks ago, there are tourist activity, especially in Iraq. So Canada, one of the members of the ally against Daesh, ISIS. Are you concerned about that activity, tourist activity in Iraq?
Well, first and foremost, as you mentioned, yes, indeed, we're part of the NATO coalition that is anti-Daesh in Iraq. I was recently in the region and also met with our forces that are based out of Kuwait. We believe that when it comes to the Middle East, we are concerned of escalation. That is why the violence must stop. We need to make sure also that we work with different partners on keeping the region much more stable. We've called for a ceasefire back in December. We've also been clear when it comes to the Middle East that the hostages must be released, and at the same time, humanitarian aid needs to go into Gaza. So, unfortunately, a Canadian was killed in the IDF strike that targeted humanitarian workers from World Kitchen. My deepest condolences to their loved ones and family members. We call for a full investigation. We want to make sure that Israel looks directly into this issue. I've reached out last night to Israel Katz, my Israeli counterpart, on this very issue. Israel needs to respect international humanitarian law, and we will make sure that that is the case.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.